What's up, everybody? It's Chad. I'm back again with another episode of Ask Chad Grassy Logic. I'm back with my buddy Cruz here again, aka Stonehead. He's here with me again. He was here last year, and we're doing an update episode. How's it going, Cruz?
Good. How have you been, man?
I've been good, man. Staying busy, and I know you've been staying busy too.
Heck yeah, heck yeah. It doesn't stop. Always moving.
Yeah, it's always a hustle. It never stops, man. So like I said, you were on the show last year and everything. So I mean, refresh everybody's memory. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah. Well, my name is Cruz. I run the Stonehead page, which I pretty much just do reviews on hash around the state locally. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Venture out here and there, actually. Yeah. Do a head stash. We're starting to do some out of state stuff. So,
Cool. Would you mind sharing some of that, or?
oh yeah. No, I don't know. It's just like since last time, I was just pretty much just straight doing the whole New Mexico thing, and we're still doing that, finding
Yeah.
out new companies because there's more and more and more coming out, which is always great. But like expanding it a little bit more because like into just different states and people are watching it's just cool. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I don't know.
Most definitely.
It's the page has grown since then, and I never really noticed either. It was kind of wild. I was just kind of doing what I was doing, the whole time until I looked up. I was just like, what the heck is going on? And then I finally realized, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool. I actually looked at your page. You're at 2,000 followers on the Instagram page, and that's great. Of course, you got the YouTube going, and all
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
So,
That
it's doing
that
good.
whole YouTube thing is just to try and bring it like a voice to the people behind the scene that does everything, right? Because everyone sees the end product and their pages, but this kind of shows you like the people that I personally feel deserve to be highlighted in the state, right? And that give me the opportunity to be there and disrupt all their peace and
Yeah,
just pay the respect that they deserve, and letting me do like my style, my edit, and just working together to get it out there.
yeah, yeah, definitely. Because I mean, it's cool because you help with brand awareness with certain companies. And a lot of people hold your opinion in high regard, which is cool. You're fair too. That's the best part. You're not like bought out by somebody, and doing the reviews for them. So that's really cool. And you're transparent. If someone
Of
gives it to
course.
you, like, yeah, it was given to me. This was given to me or whatever. I bought it. And I'm pretty sure that people appreciate that too. Of course,
Yeah, I
there's
don't
a
know.
flip side.
It's just I feel like a lot of people have had yes men around them for so long, and it's just different when people tell them like, "Hey, look, this isn't that great." Like
Yeah,
honestly,
yeah,
and it's just like, okay, maybe I do need to step down. Yeah, step down on the pedal and really get after it, because back then that was the whole goal. Was the mission is really trying to get people to chase after something, do better and get better, right?
yeah,
And here we are, which is cool, and it's just in our state, and it's as big as it needs to be because it works. It's a great time, man. I enjoy it. It's fun.
yeah, yeah. I enjoy your reviews too. You actually do a really good job. The
Appreciate that.
production quality of it is top notch. Like it really rivals a lot of other um, people on Instagram who have big, huge accounts. It really rivals those with like the type of quality that you do in your videos. I've been in a couple myself, but it's really cool to see when you're working. There's times where we're kicking it and you're still working, doing your camera stuff, and then you get to see the end product. I'm like, oh, that's what he was doing.
Yeah, yeah, of course. I always just try to pay respect to everyone around us too, not really show any faces because I never know anything like that. But yeah, I try to. Production's huge for me. I don't know, and it's not something that you necessarily need, right? I, I use like a camera and everything, right? But you don't even need anything like that.
Yeah,
In reality, I've always liked really high quality things, and I said if I'm gonna do it, I just want to do something that I would personally watch, and that's kind of how I've navigated it even since the beginning. It's just like, dang, I like this, I enjoy watching this, and then I just put
yeah,
it out there, and it just so happens that there's like-minded people, you know, and that's kind of the production side of it, is just
yeah,
really that you're a viewer at the end of the day too.
yeah, yeah. I mean, you don't want to put something out that you wouldn't watch yourself. Like,
Exactly,
yeah.
and then you just the product is a product. It speaks for itself every time too.
Yeah, 100%. Really great quality. The audio, the video, the visuals, everything is just great. You pay respect to the product itself. Showing it off, the packaging. What it looks like consistency wise. Because I can show you on the camera here what something looks like, but
Oh,
you get a great camera you have. You get a really good angle and view, and the color and everything. Don't worry, he's not adding blue light. So that what you're looking at is most likely what you're going to see in person as a representation.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
That on camera, it's hard to show exactly what something looks like sometimes because we have no clue what it's going to come out, to at the end of the day. Or someone else's, phone may be different quality. You know what I mean? And like what they see on the screen is different what I see on the screen, because of the quality. Like some people have those really cheap phones, and they don't have the best quality in the world. My producer's gawking at me right now.
Yeah, of course.
So
But honestly, everyone's iPhone now should be good enough, right? Even like
yeah,
Samsung phones, every that's what I started with. Like,
yeah,
but
there
I
you
wanted
go.
to make sure I was really good at it, and then that's whenever I was like, "Oh, I'm really enjoying this," and let's dig down a little bit deeper. And then that's whenever I upgraded the equipment, and then really started to like edit because I've enjoyed editing for like a while since I was like a kid, pretty much, right?
Yeah,
So it just goes into that, and I was just like, I can do this again, even though I forgot. So I kind of had to teach myself, but I had the gist of everything.
yeah.
So it's just goes into that end product of the production value. I don't know. It's just
So, what changes have you made in the last year, on the production and everything? Speaking of, have you added anything? Have you kind of taken anything out?
no, ever since no, I just upgrading the camera really. I've had the same microphones for since day one. That hasn't changed. Like audio quality, I was like, I have a good microphone. So that had to be like on point, right? The audio. I was like, well, if
Yeah,
I'm gonna sacrifice a little bit of the visual, at least the audio can be super crisp. And then whenever I upgraded this, it just kind of looks a lot better. Everything matches now. So
yeah, yeah.
that's
You did
really all
everything.
I've really changed. No, that's a lie. I just set up a whole corner, like just to film, because I used to like set up and then take it down, set up and then take it down. I was just like, I'm doing this way too often. Let me just set up a designated space, and that's kind of what I've been working with. That's the change. Yep.
Ah, okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I was
I
just
do.
looking at it right now.
So you have your little area where you do everything. So I think everybody has like their own little area where they like to make content. Like even myself, even though like my content is the most simple because I'm just getting information out. And sometimes I need to get it out quick. So there's like two parts of my house I really like to use. One has like anime posters behind me, and the other one's my living room with some military stuff in the background. So like
Yeah.
that's kind of what I do. But yeah, everyone has like their own little area they like to use and make content. And yeah, I did notice that change from your earlier videos to now that it does look more like a designated spot for it.
Yeah, and the vision's constantly changing. You know what I mean? My mind, obviously, ideas constantly fluctuate. It's just like, let's do this, let's do that, and
Mhm.
sometimes ideas stick, sometimes they don't. I was changing scenery for a bit, and I thought of doing some crazy ideas, and then I just ended up doing this because I just like the way that it looks too. And who knows, maybe one time, another time, I'll go to a crazy area and do something like that. I don't
Yeah,
know. So it's
maybe the
just
white
I'm
sands.
having fun with it at the end of the day, right?
Yeah,
It's just enjoying the time.
yeah. And you could tell when you're having fun because when it comes out, it's just like, oh, that was fun to watch. Like if it's fun to watch, it's probably fun to make.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Of,
Yeah,
of course.
fun all around. What are some tips you can give people that are getting into this? Like maybe your top 3 tips.
Yeah, that's kind of a tough one. I mean, just be true to the product, really, and be respectful of the plant. I mean,
Yeah,
that's kind of what I try to do as much as possible, right? Because I don't want to parade it around either. It's just like, this is a product, this is what it is, and this is like what it tastes like, and this is the rating. I mean, that's kind of just what it's been for me, just to keep it like the product is a product. I'm not trying to parade it around, if that makes
you're
sense. Like, just a respectful way of doing it.
Yeah, you're not in for it for stoner time. Like that's what I've noticed about you. Like yeah, you smoke and you try it, but it's not like, oh yeah, bro, this and that, and talking about some weird stuff or whatever. It's a 1-2 minute video. You're just telling them how it is. It's very straightforward, and you get what you get. And it's great because it's straight to the point. There's a lot of good information that comes from it, and it's entertaining. Within a minute or two, which is really where the content is going these days is like within a minute or two, nothing like the 30 minutes like my show. But like there's a lot of educational stuff that needs to be out there, and a lot of people still listen. But when it comes to like what you're doing, oh man, the 1 2 minute videos, those are golden, golden all the way.
Yeah, I don't even know, man. I like doing the long form stuff too, like the whole YouTube thing, man. That's fun.
Yeah, yeah,
All of it's just a good time. I'm just trying to. It's all for the community. I'm just trying to build it up and show that New Mexico does have a scene, right?
yeah,
That we are out there, that we do have good smoke, and I want to be able to represent it. Like as far as Stonehead is to represent, like, hey, these are the good brands around the state, right? Like
yeah,
these are people that are really really good. You guys should trust them. It's just that sort of thing, and
yeah,
really dialing it down and continue to search for that, because as obviously every day goes by, there's going to be more and more people that are opening, more and more dispensaries, and that are going to want to do single source, or that just want to do their own washes and things like, so it's just going to expand more and more,
yeah,
as it
100%.
has already.
Yeah, and we're what 2 weeks away from our 2 year anniversary for adult sales.
Yep.
So it's sky's the limit really. And there's a lot of things changing in the industry. Yeah, a couple weeks ago, I tried to say that the industry's in its in my it's getting weird phase. Like because like things are getting kind of weird in the industry. There's a lot of weird mergers happening. A lot of people are starting to get out of the industry who you think wouldn't. The corporate companies who you thought were going to be doing great, their sales are terrible. So there's a lot of stuff that has happened in the last 2 years, and it will continue to happen. So yeah, we're still early on that we have no clue what's going to happen. We could have just later on this year, 4 or 5 hash rosin companies come online that are just fire. And then they just take everybody by surprise. Because I know a few that you reviewed. I'm like, who the hell is that? And like just taking me by surprise myself. So I mean, it
Exactly.
happens. Actually, I tried some flour over at Ashtrays at Queen Bee's the other day. Well, not tried, but she showed me some flour, and I was like, "Where is this from?" And she told me. I was like, "What?" And so it's
Yeah,
some dude, someone hooked her up with it. Man, he's got some fire. So I mean,
there's a
people are on
lot
the
more
up.
flour now that's top quality. We're seeing
Yes.
more and more of it, which is great, right? Especially in the rec market.
Yeah.
It's finally here, and we're going to continue to see that more and more, as long as you know where to look for it too, kind of, because
Exactly. There's a lot of mids out there still.
yeah, yeah,
Like the Texans don't really care what they're getting because it's illegal there, so they're getting whatever they can. And Sunland Park is I love Sunland Park what they've done, but it's kind of the land of mids for that reason because there's just so much output there that they're just putting out whatever they can. Don't get me wrong, there's certain places that do have quality, but it's not as much like if you come to Cruces, you can find better quality than you can find down in Sunland Park usually, just because there's just more options of different brands. It's just they're just slinging weed out there like it's nothing. Like I think they made like $47 million or something like that. Since we've started, and that's a little ridiculous for 17,000 people in the city.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
So go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, you're fine.
Okay, my bad. So I wanted to talk to you about merch too. We got a little on side topic, which is great because it was a good conversation. So, do you have anything in mind? I know you've been coming out with stuff here and there. The mood mats were one thing that you
Oh
kind of put
yeah,
out for a while.
those projects are definitely fun. It's funny that you ask, because I actually just got some in that are the next drop. I have some collaborations that I'm working on with some um, you know local New Mexico people. So it's going to be cool, man. I've talked to some people that definitely said that they're into the idea. It's just taking the one step at a time, right? Because there's drops ahead of it. So I'm trying to stay constant with it.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, man. Well, I mean that's cool that you're doing that. And if you guys don't know, listening out there, mood mat. Actually, do you have one that you can show somebody? You don't have to show one of the ones you're coming out with, just one that you happen to have.
Yeah.
It's essentially just it's like it's almost like recycled foam. And it has cool art on it. That's one of the weird drops, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's gorgeous. I love that one. Um, and there's cool art on it. There's different types. You essentially it's to put your rigs on. I use it for my bong because it's glass, and so when you put it on the table, you don't want it to break, and it gives it a good cushion. And they're cool to look at. 2 in 1, little art piece and something that you can use too. So yeah, he comes out with those. Do you do t-shirts too sometimes, right?
Yeah, I do those on occasions on
Every
special
once in a while.
drops, right? Because those
Yeah.
ones are a lot of hard work because it takes a long time to make sure I get all the small details down because I do everything kind of by hand. I make sure like not sewing the tag. Shout out to my mom for that. I was gonna do it and she kicked me out and said let her do it because she enjoys doing her crafts and stuff, which is super dope for her to do. So and yeah, the last drop was definitely meaningful too because I worked with some of my homies, which is always dope because they're graphic designers too. So
Yeah.
it's just a good time.
Oh, that's dope, man. Yeah, it's cool, including the homies and everything, trying to get, more notoriety for them. And that's dope. We're all in this together. And, this New Mexico community and culture grows all the time and it's getting better. Cause when we were medical, there was like no cannabis community culture whatsoever. It was like all in Albuquerque. And you told me yourself, you just stayed at home.
Yeah, I was just exactly just
Just sitting there chilling.
yeah,
Yeah.
they're
So,
chilling, and then I just started uploading videos one day. I'm like, damn, there's actually something pretty good out here. Let's talk about it. Who the hell do I share this with?
yeah,
And
right.
it turned exactly into this, bro. It's honestly really amazing to see like the steps that we've made,
Yeah.
as a whole community.
Yeah. Oh,
And
100%.
yeah, it's glad to see some friends thriving and all that, and people that I've made like friends and family with. It's just it's a great community to be a part of.
I agree because that's how you and I met and became friends and like, hang out and
Exactly.
stuff. Yeah, it's exactly how it happened. Actually, I met you in person at the Hash and Hetties, the
Yeah.
very first Hash and Hetties, and I guess we'll use this as a way to talk about the Hash and Hetties that you've actually judged. So you've been a judge at every Hash and Hetties, right?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, that's dope, man. That's cool.
Yeah.
How do you
Shout
how
out.
do you
Yeah.
how do you like doing that? And if
Uh,
those of you out there who don't know, Hash and Hetties is a hash rosin competition that's recently taken off here in New Mexico in the last year or so. I think they're going on the third one.
Yeah, it's gonna be the third one coming up.
Yeah,
So I mean, judging is always awesome, especially getting chosen for it, right? Because you have to meet a certain criteria just to show, kind of, just to be like, hey, look, I'm serious. I really do smoke. I know what I'm talking about, sort of thing, right?
yeah,
So it's great to get together, and it's kind of just like all this amazing glass with people with like-minded people. It's just a community within a community too,
yeah,
and it's kind of just like an art gallery, pretty much,
yeah.
walking around seeing everything, everyone smoking, and then really like judging and trying to figure out, hey, like what's really good out there. Because at the end of the day, whenever the hash smokers understand, like it's just we're constantly chasing those amazing profiles, and that's kind of why like reviewing is really trying to chase those and being true to it, right? Like that's what I'm saying. If you're gonna do it, just be true to it. Really look for it, because you'll never ever be content.
No, no. I mean, I'm always looking for the best of flavors and the craziest flavors
Exactly.
out there.
I'm constantly switching jars and stuff like that. I'm looking for new things. What I'm hearing here and there that's going to be super duper good, and yeah.
That's dope, man. And it's like on the grow side too. Even being a grower, you want to change up your flavors that you grow. I've let you smell a couple. I know one you didn't like at all, but I didn't even like that one, so I warned you about that one.
Exactly. I'll never lie to you, Chad.
I wasn't lying to you. I was like, careful, I don't like that one either. I was like, oh. And I appreciate the honesty. I was like, okay, you confirmed what I thought. Thank you.
You're not crazy.
Yeah, I'm not crazy. I don't like that smell. Yeah, so I didn't grow that one again. But yeah, then I do appreciate that, on the side there. So yeah, I appreciate the honesty. And even outside of the reviews, you're honest, and that's what's cool. There's a lot of integrity that comes with it. You got
Of course.
integrity.
I mean, it's your word at the end of the day, right?
Yeah, yeah. We all
And
have a reputation, and we
yeah,
want to
no,
keep it.
and it does nobody any good if you lie to them, especially your friends, right? Like,
Yeah,
why would you tell them that, like, damn, this is really good, and it's like, no, it's not.
yeah, yeah. It's like
It-
that it really ain't, and like I'll be
yeah,
honest with myself, but tell me some other shit to critique it. I might have
yeah,
not thought of it.
yeah. Some
Um,
people are nose blind because they love their baby so much.
Yeah, 100%. And like I love my plants, but I'm a grower. I'm not a master grower. I'm not a Jedi grower or anything like that. We're all trying to figure the plant out. There's so much that we
Of
don't know
course,
about.
yeah, yeah. And it's constant. Everything's constantly changing. We just
just go with the flow, really.
Yeah, exactly, bro. It's just a good time with the community, bro. And
It is. Yeah, yeah. Like the hash and the hash and headies is a great time with the community. I have a great time every time I'm there
did we
with you
get?
guys.
Damn, we just went way sideways, huh?
Oh, it happens, dude. Yeah.
I was like,
It
damn,
happens
wait,
on the
we were talking
podcast.
about that hash and heady. Sorry, man. I took a fat dab before.
No, it's okay. Don't worry. I'm in charge of keeping us on track. So
Okay.
yeah, don't worry about
Yeah,
that.
no,
Yeah,
so
you're just here to have a
no, shout out to
conversation with me.
Jeff for the whole hash and headies, man. It's honestly just a huge community within a community with like-minded people really trying to chase the best flavors out there, right? Because there's constant seasons, the flowers are changing, flowers changing constantly. People are trying new flavors, so people want to hit like the one, right? People
Yeah.
want to hit the one. So this is kind of like steps to really get there. So whenever you're judging, it's just like, dang, this one here, like, okay, how far can we really take it?
Yeah.
I don't know. We're constantly trying to hit that number one just here in the state. Like, there's just so much that could be done that we could be known for, and people have been known for it because of hash and headies, right?
Yeah.
Because
It's
I
true.
talked to these past brands, and they've told me themselves that it's really helped elevate them, which is obviously great for them.
Yeah. No,
So
it is. It's great for brand awareness and getting out there and just being a part of the community because like we all can be on Instagram and talk to each other and this and that. Yeah, hope you're doing great, this and that. But when you get into a person to person situation, you get to sit down with the other hash makers, you get to talk to them, converse,
exactly,
this and that. And sometimes, you guys become friends and you share tips with each other, like you share, like,
and
we're
that's pretty
competitors.
much what it's like behind the scenes, and a lot
Yeah.
of people don't even know that.
Yeah, yeah, we're all friends at the end of the day. Like I was with Cruises Craft, and we hung out with Couch Lock, we hung out with Yendo Farms, or Unito Farms now, on the other side, and we hung out with all the guys. We even hung out with Z Labs at the events and stuff too. Zach's a cool guy. So
Yeah,
it was really cool to just really hang out with everybody, and just really see face to what the products have.
exactly.
Yeah, put a face to the logo, I guess is what I could really say. So one thing I really want to talk about too was the heady pieces, since we're on the topic of hash and headies. So from your opinion, what makes a piece heady?
What makes a heady, huh?
And I
So
mean, you
I
have one
mean,
right there. Go ahead and show her off.
no, well, okay. So I consider this pretty much a heady, right? This
Okay.
is a major mids concept piece. It's super tippy because it's a concept piece, but it's kind of like every piece that they blow is always kind of almost going to be unique in its own ways. They can be similar, right?
Yeah.
But you can always see some different, just small little differentiations every time. Like you can see right here where he was just starting that this is uneven. But I love how this thing chugs, right?
Yeah.
And it's still a little heady piece. It's nothing expensive,
Yeah.
but it's blown here in America by some glass artist that's really trying to do his thing, you know?
So
Sorry, I haven't
artisan.
seen this piece. I need a cleaner. That's what I was looking.
So it's more of an artisan with a different take on what a rig looks like. It's not your conventional kind of look. It's more extravagant, extra, I guess is what I would say. It doesn't have to be
Oh,
expensive, just kind of cool looking, little
I'm
extra, and
not,
it's also artisan, right?
yeah, it's just about the people blowing it. Really,
Okay,
it's within the community.
there you go. And that one's beautiful. I love hitting that
Yeah,
one.
this is my baby.
Yeah, yeah. I've got
That's
to use
my
that one a
baby.
couple times.
I use that one all the time. I've been dry dabbing it for some weird reason, but I've been enjoying it. And then there's even artsy pieces. You know,
We're gonna
that's
get a treat
favorite.
now. Oh, is this my favorite?
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
Bro.
The giraffe's my
But there's
favorite.
people out there with some amazing pieces, bro. And I
Oh,
hope
there
to
is.
get one day, right? But
Mhm.
like this right here, this
That's
would be
gorgeous.
super heady, you know?
Yeah,
It's an artsy piece too.
very unique. Like that's what's okay. So that's one thing that I get asked a lot. From people like, well, what makes it heady? And I'm like, uh, to be honest, I don't know if there's a criteria. To be honest, I don't know if someone that calls their piece heady, what they think about what makes something heady in the first place. Is it price? Is it the artist, et cetera, et cetera?
That's
But
not
there's
even necessarily the price of anything. I got some
yeah,
heady marbles that aren't expensive, right? They're
yeah.
just blown by someone. And I have some marbles that are decently expensive. I don't have anything ridiculous because some people have some crazy marbles, right?
like
Like
$500.
I wouldn't even necessarily call myself like super heady, right? Because I've seen some people that are like mega heady. I'm like, okay, that's wild.
Yeah, yeah. Because I mean, at the Hash and Headies, we had that guy had the phaser gun. Remember
Oh
that
man,
phaser gun
yeah.
rig? That shit was so cool.
Yeah, no, there's some wild rigs out there. So you go like Hash and Headies has some crazy, crazy rigs out there. So it's just like I know what I like. Like my Robertson, that's one of my favorite artists. I made sure I grabbed it, and now I have my eye on a different gym. So I'm just like, maybe I should get something like that. So
Yeah,
it's just constantly ever changing. It's functional art, is
yeah.
what it is, you know?
There we go. Functional art, and that's great. So for those of you out there who wanting to start doing content or maybe get into the heady community because maybe this is the kind of community you like. Maybe you like high quality stuff. You love rosin, and this is your community. So there's a little bit of tidbit for you. I'll ask more people within the heady community to what they think heady is to them because I wouldn't say it's something new, but it's something that not everybody in the New Mexico landscape really knows a lot about. And what's wrong with getting educated on things.
Yeah.
So, but man, I appreciate you, talking about the headies and stuff like that, because and sharing those with me, because that's art. You're sharing your art with me that you
Just
have.
functional art.
Yeah, yeah,
We like we enjoy smoking, you know? We really do enjoy smoking a lot.
yeah, yeah, we do, 100%. So, and I was going to ask you this earlier. So, off the topic of hash and headies, have you ever ran into any issues doing your reviews? And I meant to ask you that earlier, but I forgot.
Like, what do you mean issues?
So, I guess people getting mad on the Instagram,
Oh
cease and
yeah. But
desists.
people don't like it. People don't like the truth, or they're so used to yes men or something like that. I don't know. Or that you're talking trash about their kid pretty much is what it feels like to them.
Yeah,
And they take it to heart, and that's okay too. If they have a reaction, right? I put it out there, they're allowed to have their reaction. That's fine.
yeah,
It's okay. But
100%.
I honestly hate doing bad reviews because I never know how someone else is gonna react. I'm just at the end of the day, I'm just trying to find really good flavors, right? Really
Mhm.
good strains, something that stands out. And I'm doing it in the community of New Mexico, and I'm constantly chasing out of the community of New Mexico too, because I really want to chase some special flavors, right? But it just so happens that hey, this one wasn't that great this time. So it's
Yeah,
just it's gonna constantly be coming because there's so many brands that if I see a new one, I'll pick it up and then we'll do it that way.
yeah, 100%. And
Yeah.
it's starting to get to the point where they're coming to you too, right?
Yeah. Of course, I've had some people donate product and all that, which is always fun, right? Which is cool, which is like wild because I never thought that would happen. But at the end of the day, it doesn't. It's the reviewer's responsibility to go out and get the product, so it doesn't matter, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So it's whenever I go into a dispensary or hear about a new brand, I already have a hit list right now for this year, and I'm gonna slowly start getting into that. Yeah. So, and I'm constantly reviewing behind the scenes too, and giving a lot of people feedback. So it just doesn't stop there, right? So I'm
Yeah.
constantly moving, constantly smoking, and constantly trying to find the best flavors. So
Yeah.
that's just kind of what we do.
And to be honest, you don't know it, but secretly you're kind of making the industry better, or on the consumer side, because you're telling people what's good, what's not good, what's working, what's not. Because I've seen some of the people compete again at the Hash and Headies, and they had terrible reviews essentially, but then they came back the next one and it was significantly better. So
Yeah.
reviews and competitions, they only make people better, and it only works if you're actually honest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's not like some kind of bias, and I appreciate that from you because you don't bring that to the table. You even tell people sometimes, I'm not going to smoke this. Like, like there's no way I'm going to smoke this. And that happens. There's times where I'm like, no, nah, I
Yeah.
don't want to.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I don't blame you.
Yeah, no. I mean, they can say that we're picky or snobby or whatever, but at the end of the day, we're kind of like ruining our lungs. So let's make it worth it, right?
Yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah.
so I heard that once and I was just like, yeah, let's really make it worth it. So and even then reviewing, you're always gonna have some questionable stuff. I've had a few, and I mean that's just what comes with it, right?
Yeah, yeah, it comes with. I mean, I used to do reviews back in the day when we were just medical, and yeah, back then our quality was mids to low mids. There was really no top quality back then.
Yeah.
So yeah, I totally get it, man, 100%.
Sometimes you got to say no, but sometimes you just gotta bite the bullet and do it.
Yeah, and try it. Yeah, there's been times where for R&D, we'll try something knowing that it's going to be terrible, just so I can know what it tastes like or what a certain issue was tastes like. Okay, this is the reason why it tastes like this. Oh, so when I smoke it again, I know that's what that is. Or if I smell that again, I know what that
Yeah,
is. Yeah, it sucks, but I guess for science.
for science.
For science. So, but yeah, man. Well, I appreciate the conversation and everything. And one more thing, you're an Eastern New Mexico boy too. Yourself.
Yeah,
Alamogordo is where it starts, I guess, is what I've been told. And you're from you said Clovis, right?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I've actually never been to your place or anything, so we just kind of run into each other, or you end up over here. So yeah, from the eastern part of the state. How does that culture differ from the rest of the state? I
Oh
guess
man,
I'd mean more or less like Cruces, Albuquerque kind of question.
I guess at least where I'm at, right? And the people, I don't know. I kind of more Western, I guess. More
True.
cowboys. We're
Yeah,
right now
yeah,
in Texas, like right on the border in Texas.
that's
You
true.
know, so I'd say that's the biggest difference. I hear some lingo that I've never heard before come from Albuquerque and Las Cruces, right? Which
Mhm.
is wild because I've always been in my own little corner. I'm just like, oh, whoa. And then you guys made me start saying some things too.
Oh, like what?
I'm not gonna say it. I broke the habit already.
Don't worry, we'll bring it back.
I know. That's
He's like,
funny.
that's what I hate. Oh, that's awesome, man. Yeah, and that's funny, man. Because like when I moved to Cruces, and even now, I'm finding out that I have a very light, slight twang and draw, and so certain words that I say, I'll get laughed at here. Because just the way that I said it, I'm like, did I say it funny? Like, what the hell's going on? So yeah, it's one of those things. So don't worry, we'll bring the inappropriateness back. So, but anyway, man, I really appreciate the conversation and everything.
Yeah, I hope I
It's
didn't like screw up your podcast or anything, man. We just been
no,
laughing.
no, dude, that means we're having a good time. It's a good conversation. Those are always the best episodes. The best stuff comes from it. So I appreciate the conversation and everything, man. And then, I look forward to having you on the show again. We got to
Yeah,
keep updating what's
Chad,
going
you already
on.
know. Just let me know, and I'm here. Anything for Chad, bro. I love you, Chad.
I love you too, Cruz. I got you, man. Well, before we move on to the next topics, where can the people find you online, especially my new listeners?
I mean, on Instagram it's Stoneheadnm, and that's basically where I really spend majority of the time.
Okay.
I have the YouTube, that's Stonehead, New Mexico as well, and that's kind of what I do. Those two
Awesome.
things.
Simple, easy peasy. So if
Yeah,
you're not on
simple.
Instagram, you can at least catch them on YouTube.
Yeah, one or the other.
Yeah, one or the other. Dope, man. Well, I appreciate it, man. And we're gonna move on to the next conversations. And again, if you guys are out there, go ahead and give them a follow. Go check out those reviews and see what kind of fire is in the state. So we're gonna move on to the next conversation. It's gonna be talking about MedMen and getting shut down in California. It's not by the government; they pretty much got shut down by themselves. And this is actually going to be like kind of a catalyst to talk about New Mexico too and what's happening here because they lost a lot of stores in California. So MedMen is down to 2 stores in California. If my listeners, if you're not too sure who MedMen is, they're what's called a multi-state operator, big corporate company. Actually, I believe they have companies in Canada too, and they're actually on the stock market in the Canadian side. So they're on the stock market. They're one of the biggest cannabis companies in the world. They have had a lot of dispensaries around the nation. But in California, they're down to 2. They just left the Arizona and Nevada market completely. So they're no longer in those 2 markets. Far as I know, they're not in New Mexico, but we have our own MSOs here from other places that I'll touch on here in a little bit. But the only places that have MedMen now in California is San Diego and in Los Angeles near LAX, near the airport. And that's it. I guess they were all over the state at one time, trying to pop up everywhere, and they couldn't sell their mids, and that's one of the issues that we're running into with these corporate companies is they're not putting out quality product. It's Walmart grade or less. And I'm sure you've seen it on the internet, MedMen and everything like that. I mean, what's your experience with them?
See, to be completely honest with you, I don't know much about them or anything like that. But that's kind of where I'm seeing the market going everywhere,
Mhm.
is pretty much these giant companies aren't going to be able to sustain like that. The people that are being more successful right now are all the like super small batch people. Those ones are the ones that are really, really thriving up and up right now
Yeah,
because people are looking for good quality.
exactly. And that's one thing that I've noticed too, because a lot of people in newer markets, they're just trying to get whatever they can, especially when we were medical. In medical, it was we were given what we had. We didn't have anything else. We had 34 producers at our peak, or 35 producers at our peak. And that was it. Like it's nothing compared to what we have today. And so we really didn't have much to choose from. So once we went legal, people were getting what they could. And there was a little bit of a shortage. There wasn't much, I wouldn't say shortage. There wasn't much selection. I got so tired of freaking whatchamacallit. I don't even want to remember the name. Slurricane. Ugh, I got so tired of that. Anytime I see that now, I'm like, no thanks. I've had more than enough Slurricane. I got tired of it. Um, and we ran into that, but people weren't being picky. You were finding expensive cannabis that was subpar, mids, et cetera, et cetera. But now we're hitting into our second year. We're starting to get into the more mature market phase of our industry, and now the consumer is starting to change. And it's not just in New Mexico; it's everywhere. Canada, California, Colorado. Colorado market's down about 40-50%, if not more. Um, Arizona, I'm not too sure. They seem to they're an interesting industry, say the least. I don't know if you've been to Arizona or checked anything out over there.
No.
I think Nevada is going through the same thing too. In Canada, they have like these huge grow facilities that are shutting down. Some are like switching to like lilies so they can make a profit because it's harder to have quality cannabis with a larger grow. Like
Yeah.
once you have thousands upon thousands of plants, your quality goes down because it's harder to ensure that every single plant is going to be all right because it's a consumer thing. It's not like a flora plant where you can spray whatever the hell you want on it because no one's eating it or drinking it or whatever or smoking it. So that's kind of like the what we're seeing now. And these big corporate companies, like you said, they're going to be struggling. And they went from 12 Oh yeah, they went last year, the recent closures. They had 12 closures. So now they're down to 2. And I don't know what their prior closures were before that, so how many they started with, but 12 stores shutting down is actually pretty alarming. Because here in New Mexico, the big guys, they're shutting down like maybe 1, 2, et cetera, here and there, but shutting down 12 is actually really, really alarming. And the fact that they got out of 2 state markets alone. So I don't know how many states they have left that they're in. It might just be California and maybe Canada and some other place. But we might see them sell because they were supposed to merge with the Chicago company, but that didn't happen. And it was one of the things was due to the fact that their stock tumbled like 40%, 47% since its inception. And like that's terrible once your stock goes that far. So I kind of feel it was a mix of a few things for MedMen themselves. The fact that they couldn't keep up the quality and the fact that they're in 2 different countries and then their stock market just plummeted. And the issue about the stock market on that one is it's in Canada. So you have to go to the Canadian side stock market to invest in it. It's kind of a pain in the ass, and not everybody wants to do it because I tried to do it and I was like, that's not fun. So that's another issue. So we're heading to a federal either deschedule, reschedule kind of phase in all industries. We might start seeing that in the United States if that happens. There was rumors that the DEA was supposed to come out with their decision a couple weeks ago. I'm not sure now when they're going to come out with their decision. There has been some pushback from certain people within it. Come to find out from I guess sources within the DEA that I'm not too sure what's going to happen. From what it sounds like, they may just keep it Schedule One. And to be honest, and I hate to say this, we might be better off with Schedule One here in New Mexico for at least another 4 or 5 years, so we can become a stable market before that happens. Because if that happens, that's going to wreck us here. I'm not going to say it's going to end our industry, but it's going to do a lot of damage to some businesses here. I mean, I'm sure you've seen some issues already in the state on your side.
Yeah.
So, but I really wanted to talk about that because it leads into New Mexico. New Mexico, we have a couple of MSOs here that are just they're not doing good, and it's all because quality. They can't keep up with quality. Like you said it earlier, there's these small batch farms coming out with just nothing but quality, high grade cannabis. Tastes good, looks good, smokes good. It's not just $5 a gram, or $100 an ounce, out the door. You're going to pay a little bit more, but you are getting a better experience all around, customer experience, and everything. I mean, what's your experience, trying to find good cannabis, I guess?
So I mean, at least around the state, right?
Yeah,
Around the state, it was difficult for, I would say, it just recently got good to where you
yeah,
can go into a, I would say, dispensary, because there are some people that they only go into dispensaries, right? They only trust these lab results, and so they feel comfortable going into these dispensaries.
yeah,
So that's perfectly fine. So now it's to the point where I'd happily walk up into one and I know who I'm looking for, right?
yeah,
And because their flour is so good, I don't have to go searching far and wide anymore to get good flour. I'm content with that flour. Maybe not the hash, right? But we're going to continue chasing that. But the flour, I'm happy for, because everything's really, really advancing, and we're getting to the times where all this fire is going to continue going and going. But it goes down to also the dispensary owners being more picky, because
yeah,
at a time there was, like you're saying, these $5 freaking grams and out the door and all this and that, and that's whenever they're just trying to get, their dollar, which is fine. They have a business to maintain, right? They have to do what they can to like feed their family. But there are these dispensaries that are special out there that actually care and really try to bring in nothing but great product, because they are just as picky as some people, right? So those dispensaries are the people that I like. That's what I do. I want to try and be like, hey, these dispensaries are really, really good. These ones are the ones that you should be at, because they carry this and this and this, or because I know, like, oh, we're bringing in a new company. Oh, I know it's going to be good, because like they're just as picky. So
yeah.
people that have we're going to know who they are because we talk about them, right? Because that's kind of what I like to do. And I gain nothing from it. I just want the state to be aware that, hey, look, we do have some really, really great products around.
Yeah, because I sit on Twitter sometimes. That's where I look for certain news articles. I'm not saying like information like people's things, but news articles for some reason pop on there first, and then they go to other places afterwards. Don't know why, but it's a thing. So I go there and I'll just type in New Mexico cannabis and see what's being said, and I'll run into comments, and of course you run into people like, oh, this is mids, this and that, and even on Instagram side today actually. I ran into a High Times article, and in one of the articles that actually I found through one of these, I went to the comments, and of course, there's people like, "Oh, New Mexico has nothing but mids. Oh, the weed sucks." And what they're talking about is Sunland Park and certain areas that border Texas that just they're getting stuff out the door. They don't care. They're just catering to Texans all day, and that's pretty much 90 to 95% of their customer base. And so they're just catering to what their customer base wants, and their customer base does not care. They just want the cheapest price out the door.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, there's going to be those very few select Texans who do like quality, but they're in the minority these days. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of muted out by the people just wanting their cannabis. I can't blame them. We were the same way when Colorado went legal. There's people going to Colorado weekly to go get, cannabis and stuff like that. So, we were in the same boat, just getting whatever we can, $100 ounces, but we learn better. We know better, and the consumer base is changing on that front. And like we said, it shows. Like these smaller dispensaries that are really caring about craft, and they're caring about supporting local farms, because out of state cannabis is an issue here. And so those people are doing good. It's very there's only one out of state MSO that's doing good in New Mexico, and that's actually Dark Matter Top Crop. Simply because they went and got quality. They didn't follow the same suit that these other guys did. They said, well, we'll just make our money, selling, bulk everything. We're going to make our money do that way. Well, that only works for so long. So they at least figured that out. But the rest of them didn't seem to really figure out that if you get quality, you're going to get more sales for a longer term. So I think that's one thing that smaller mom and pops are figuring out now, because we have a couple of micros that actually just became one of the big guys. Green Fuego, they just got their big boy license not long ago, so congrats to
Yep.
them.
Congratulations to them for sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
Shout out to
so
Eric, Sandy, and everyone at Green Fuego.
Yeah, 100%. They deserve it. They're putting out fire, the green fuego. And they're scaling up their growth. So good for them. We'll see how big the grow gets, and everything, and see what they do in the future. So congratulations to them. And that's what the micro licenses were really for, just starting out area. Kind of figure it out. But we'll see where that little sweet spot of, okay, how many plants is too many plants? We know about 10,000 plants is kind of too many plants. Is it 5,000? Is it 2,000? Is it 3,000? We're really going to figure out probably in the next couple of years where that sweet spot is of where you want to be to keep that craft quality, but also able to keep it consistently coming out. You know what I mean? And I'm sure that, for you, it's hard to find, the consistency coming out all the time, but sometimes that's the fun of it, like looking for it and
Yeah,
waiting,
yeah, exactly. It's just that's why if you love hash, you understand just constantly chasing, right? But
Yeah.
people like obviously there's a lot of stuff out of state that you can get that's really, really good, right? And I'm constantly looking for that too. But whenever you're trying to find it in the state, you might find something special. And
Yeah.
there are some people that are really special out here. So
Oh
it's good to find them and give them the like, oh dang, you don't. Let's talk about this product right here because it's actually really, really good and we'll venture out. Like I said, we're doing out of state stuff now. So
Yeah, that's dope. And I'm glad you're doing the out of state stuff too. It really highlights, where we stand as an industry here in New Mexico because you can compare it to something else. Well, this and this has a similar note to whatever company in New Mexico, or, oh, okay, this is just as good as whatever company in New Mexico. You can make those distinctions, and help the consumer out more too. And so that's like, a benefit of, doing out of state stuff. And, he's not buying it from a dispensary in New Mexico.
no,
Yeah,
no.
they come from other sources, so it's not coming from a dispensary. If some of you watching are thinking that. So, but yeah, I'm glad that you're able to try those different products and everything, and you're doing those reviews because it shows these other companies here in the state too what we are up against as well, not just as us as consumer to see where we are. And even maybe some of these hash companies could be like, oh crap, I need to get my shit to that level because I've seen a
Yep.
lot of stuff from out of state. It's just fire. I mean, from all over the community and everything. Not just from yourself or anyone else. There's great cannabis from all over the nation when it comes to the hash.
Yep.
So the hash game, especially the rosin, um, it's an interesting change, I guess, from what I would say from what it was about 5 years ago. So it's cool to see that. But I guess we got off topic again. No big deal. We always do that around here. And that's why we bring it back. But we'll just finish off. There's really not much talk left about the corporate companies and everything like that. I just wanted to let people know that this is what's going on. And here in New Mexico, we're starting to see. We actually never really went down the corporate route on our rec side. We were there on the medical side, so we didn't want to continue on that route. And it seems that we've made our choice because if you look at the sales numbers to all the MSO big corporation companies, their sales are down. Some of them may still be in the hundreds of thousands, but they were making $200,000 a month to $500,000 a month, April 1st, 2022. And now you see down there to $100,000. Well, that's a lot of loss. So you can see why some of these companies have, gotten rid of 100 employees on the MedMen side. Some of their, CEO type people have only lasted about 7 months before they quit or were let go. So it just seems like, there's also bad decisions being made from that front. And usually with these big companies, that seems to be the issue in cannabis. They just make really bad decisions because this isn't soda, this isn't cereal, this isn't beer. This is a total different industry, and people are still trying to figure it out. And it seems that this big corporation model just doesn't seem to work. The consumers don't want it, and I'm fine with that because we get better quality. On the hate to compare it, but similar timelines and historical things happen with the beer and wine stuff. We only allowed craft breweries within probably the last 30 years or so. Before that, it was just the big guys. That's all you had. That's why so many people drink Bud Light and Coors and all these big corporation companies because that's all there was. There was no Santa Fe Brewery or any of that. Back in the day, that's fairly new. So we're kind of doing the opposite of what they did. We're starting out with craft involved with the corporation, and we're starting to find out that people don't want Walmart of weed. And that's really cool. And I hope New Mexico can keep that trend. But one thing we're going to have to do that's going to help us fix the issue in Sunland Park is start educating the Texans more. because the more that the education that we give to the Texans, the more quality that they'll want, and then we won't have as many mids in like Sunland Park, and areas like that, because there's mids all over that place. You can find high quality at certain places. There's like smaller spots like Smoking Rods, where they do try to focus on local and craft and quality, but they're on a different side of town. And actually, I use that as a catalyst to jump into our next conversation here, because we're going to be talking about Little Dubai or Sunland Park, heavily in this last part of the conversation. But before we move on, do you have anything on the last conversation, Cruz?
I do not.
Awesome. I just wanted to make sure, there was nothing that you didn't want to bring up, be like just cutting you off.
Appreciate
So
it.
as you guys know, I call Sunland Park Little Dubai. I'm sure Cruz knows that. Everyone that watches my show knows that's what I call it. And there's some issues in Little Dubai that's going on, and most of it is coming from the smaller retail spots there, because Sunland Park is built weird. And you've been to Sunland Park many times, right, Cruz?
A few times.
Yeah, yeah. If you So you know where all the main stuff is, like where the racetrack is and the theme park and all the other cool dispensaries.
Yes.
Okay, so if you just go past the bridge, over there, the Texans don't go past the bridge. So they all stay in that little area there. But if you go past the bridge and you take a right, that's actually the rest of Sunland Park. And that's where actually all the residents go. And that's where most of them spend their money, the 17,000 people that live there. That's where most of them kind of hang out. Don't get me wrong, they will go across the bridge, but the Texans are really the ones by that bridge in that area, just for the simple fact that you have Western Playland there, you have the race casino there, and then you have cannabis right there. So I mean, there's a bunch there for them to do, and then I
Yeah.
believe they're adding an adult theme park thing over there on that side too. So that side is going to be heavy with like stuff for people to do, while the other side doesn't. And I think that's the issue that Little Dubai is running into, because the smaller retails that are away from that area are having a hard time making money. I look at some of the sales. Top Crop or Dark Matter over there makes about $1 million a month. And then you have Field of Dreams. They make about $500,000 a month. Then you got places that aren't doing as good. They're making about $90,000 a month to maybe $50,000 a month. But that's before you cross the bridge. Once you cross the bridge, it drops even more to $30,000 a month, $5,000 a month. And that's really the issue that they're talking about right here. Have you seen like anything similar like in Clovis? Because I know Clovis is, an interesting setup too.
No, over here we're a border town, so we do get Texans like that. The numbers are pretty steady around here. There has been like obviously a little bit of drop, especially with like pricing going down and all that, and the market like dropping a little bit. So that's whenever we're seeing a little bit of these numbers dropping. But that's really what it comes down to. I know some shops say that they are struggling a little bit more to get some place getting customers in. So it's you're starting to see that bubble burst, and it's it's here.
Yeah, yeah, that bubble bursted a while back, and starting to take names and take lives. Well,
Hmm.
company lives, not real lives. It's starting to take people out of the industry. And that's unfortunate, but that's a part of the industry too. We're going to have winners, we're going to have losers, we're going to have people that started out small and got bigger. We're going to have people that started big and lose. And we're seeing that on a really big scale right now. And
Yeah.
it's sad that that's happening, but at the same time, that's business, and that's what we all decided to get into, unfortunately. And that's one of the realities that we have to understand when we get into this: is there is a chance that I might fail, and if I do, what am I going to do? On top of, if or when I do succeed, what am I going to do? You need to have those both kind of figured out. And I think some people didn't really think of that getting into this, because I said the Little Dubai sold $50 million since we adult sales started, but not everybody is reaping that 57 million dollar benefit that's coming in. And it could be a mixture of maybe these smaller places that don't have a lot of sales, maybe they just don't have quality. Maybe the quality of cannabis that they have just isn't there, or maybe they're not catering to their customer base, because most of those places across the bridge, they're catering to the local residents of Southern Park, maybe Santa Teresa, and places that are probably closer within the vicinity of that. There's little areas within there.
Yeah.
So they're probably catering to that because they don't want to go to the super busy side of town, or across the bridge where it's super busy. Where if you go to Dark Matter, it's slammed all day. Or if you go to Field of Dreams, it's probably slammed all day too. And They just want to get their cannabis and go. And sometimes they have a dispensary right down the street from their house. And so it's just easier for them. But there's only 17,000 people that live there. So these people that are on that side of the bridge, you're going to have to get creative. You're going to have to figure out ways to bring Texans to that side of town. Give them a reason to cross that bridge to bypass those bigger dispensaries. They need a reason, a product, a pop up, an event, something. I know Smoking Rods did one a while back. It was a like a skate and toke, I think it was. It was like a cannabis dispensary crawl where you're on your skates and you skate to different dispensaries. I mean, I was like, that's kind of cool. I don't
Yeah.
own skates, but that'd be fun. So, I mean, I don't know. Would you do something like that?
Would I do something like that? I'm always open to doing something, man. Oh, at
Yeah.
least trying it once, right?
Yeah.
I'm always, yeah, yeah. That's why not? Why
Yeah.
not?
Yeah.
Let's go
Just
for it.
give it a shot. Like you'll
Yeah,
never
exactly.
know
You
this.
you might find yourself having the best time of your life and you didn't even know it, and you wanted to say no at the beginning. Just give it a shot.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. There's events, going on cannabis wise, in the state all the time. So if you see one, go check it out. Maybe there's something cool there. Or maybe there's something that'll be life changing for you. Maybe you'll
Exactly.
find a new hobby.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look at where this ended up for me. You know what I mean? I have a great list of friends and family now. That's just we're all in a community together.
Yeah,
So
100%. And without you getting out of your comfort zone and wanting to do this, you wouldn't be where you are right now on this show, and with the following that you have, and with the notoriety that you have now. So I congratulate you, man. You started from nothing to building up
I
to where
don't
you
even
are
know what
now.
you're talking about, Chad. Congratulations to you and all you do, man. You're the advocate. I don't do anything, bro. I take the reviews very seriously, right? But I'm having fun doing it, bro. You're doing a lot of work. You're doing a lot of work, right?
Yeah.
So, but recognize what you're doing, brother.
Well, I appreciate it, man. I really do. And I try to, but there's certain times where I feel like I'm talking to a wall. But
A
it
lot of
helps
the
when
times you are. That's what I'm saying. I commend you.
yeah, I know, and it sucks. But I do for the people, and the people are starting to slowly come out and be like, okay, I do need to do something because like I'm only one guy, dude. I can only do so much. But I really appreciate that. It makes the effort worthwhile when you get a thanks every now and then. So I appreciate that, brother. So, but yeah, that's really all I had for the little Dubai thing. I just really wanted to bring that up and kind of give my analytical side of what I think's happening. I've been told by people that are born and raised on the park that that bridge thing, it's a thing that the Texans just don't cross it. There's really no reason for them to go there. So a lot of the shops that are past that just don't do good. So it's an unfortunate thing, but that's just the way the city's built. The city's going to have to figure out a way to get people past that bridge,
Yeah.
and the business owners. They're going to have to come up with something cool. Maybe surprise us. That'd be cool. So, but anyway, do you have anything before we get out of here?
Just thank you for having me, man.
Of
Thank you to
course,
your
dude.
producer. Anytime you guys want me back on the show, I'll always be available for you guys.
I appreciate it, man. And
Yeah.
who knows?
I
Maybe
just
I
didn't
ask
have
you later
to
on
talk,
this year.
bro.
I love hanging out with you and talking with you, man. It's always a good time and always good conversations. And I can always count on you being honest.
Of course.
So, oh, and before we go, Bright Green here in New Mexico, if you guys know, they're the only federally illegal grow in the state. They actually applied to, I guess, study other Schedule 1 and 2 substances. I didn't really dig too far into it because I contacted them for an interview to see if they wanted to talk sometime and kind of hear from their side what's going on. I know a lot of you have questions. I have questions because they're not ran by the CCD. They're literally a federal legal entity grow. So it'd be kind of cool to hear from their side what's going on and what they got going on. I just wanted to put that out there. I contacted them, and I'll let you guys know if I hear back from them. If I hear back, cool. If not, I don't know what I can do. So, but yeah, we'll see if they come on the show and talk to me sometimes. But make sure you guys like, follow, subscribe, whatever you got to do to ensure you don't miss an update. All right, so I'll be here next week again. And Cruz, thank you one more time, man. It's always great. And I
Thank
will see you guys next week. All right.